Hi, this is Prof T from Computer Applications, and I wanted to give you some help with your exercises for this week, basically projects 3 and 4. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit about formatting, give you some ideas on summing, MinMax, some different formulas. I'll talk to you about Sparklines, conditional formatting, and finally the what if and the goal seek. So just hoping to help you out here with your homework. So here we go. This particular worksheet just lists sales that we have by the day of the week. So I've got some simple numbers here and I've listed it by month. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do some general formatting just to kind of show you what can be done. If you want to set up these particular headers and rotate them in a way that maybe gives you a little more room or gives you some highlighting that you're looking for, you can do that by going to Format Cells and then Alignment. And at this point, if you want to bring them down 45 degrees and make them come down at an angle like that, you could do that. And you would do that by setting it here on the orientation area. If you click OK, you'll see now that my days of the week are at a minus 45 degree angle. It just gives you a way to kind of highlight what's going on there and on those headers. Another thing that might be good for you to do is basically all of these are numbers, and let's say that they represent dollar amounts. You've got some options that you can use for your formatting. Currency is very common. Accounting is another one that's pretty commonly used. In this case, let's say we want to use currency, but I also want to back off and not have any decimal places. So if I want to use whole dollars, I can reduce the number of decimals, which I've done here, and you'll see that now I've got dollar signs on each one of these numbers. That just kind of helps me out with the formatting. At this point, I might want to do some adding up so I can see for the whole week what my sales were for the month of September. And at this point, you can use the AutoSum, which is up here at the top on the home ribbon. If you click there, you'll see you've got just a few of the functions, and there's many, many more. But if I just want to sum those, Excel will automatically look and see what cells are adjacent. And by summing this range, what it'll do for me is it will add up all 5 of these numbers and put it in this cell. At this point, I could do that same thing over and over again, working my way down, or it's a lot easier just to use the fill handle, grab the corner of that, and when this turns to a plus sign, drag it down. Now I've got totals for each one of these months. You can do the same thing here at the bottom if I wanted to see on Monday what my sum was. Here's another way to do it. Hit the equals key. I'm going to use the sum function, and in parentheses I can give it my range. I can either type them in or I can actually just highlight it, close the parenthesis and hit enter. Now I've added what my sales were for all the Mondays. And again, drag it, use the fill handle, drag it all the way across so that I can get my my totals moving across here. And if I want a grand total, I can do that all the way in this cell in the corner. We also use min, max, average, those types of functions. So if I want to see what the minimum sales amount was, I can use the minimum function and again tell it the range. I do not want to include my total in this case. So I want to leave that out, but there's minimum. I'll highlight this as total so that I know what I've got there. So the minimum in this group of numbers, not including the total, is 100, which makes sense. Here's my smallest number. I can copy that across. Now I've got all of my minimums, and as you can see, that makes sense. Here's 100 is the minimum, 200 is the lowest amount. On this one, 176, 154, and 235. That's what the minimum function will do for you. You can do maximum, you can do averages, all of that, but I'm going to stop there and kind of let you see what that does. Sparklines are a way to do a little like mini graph, I call it, and sparklines are kind of nice because what you can do is if you wanted a graphical representation of what was happening day by day, I could create a sparkline off here to the side. Sparklines are found on the Insert ribbon, and by doing that I can, here they are right here in this section, I can say give me a sparkline And the range that I want to use is actually from Monday until Friday. I don't want my total included in that. And I want to park that here into this one cell. What I just did was I did a miniature graph of the sales that I've got for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it shows me that basically my trend is my sales are going up as the week goes on. I can copy this and I can use this for all the different days, and I can look at the different trends. If I want to, I can add high and low points. I can change the color. There's some different ways to show that. My favorite color is blue, so I'm going to use blue for my Sparklines. So kind of the same concept of doing a chart, although a chart takes up a really large area. With Sparklines, you can just do just a quick snapshot of like a trend and do a miniature graph off to the side here, so I can see that in most cases my sales are going up as the week goes on, maybe with the exception of this 1 month where they kind of went up and came back down. But that's what Sparklines will do for you. Also in the assignments, you're going to have some use of the conditional formatting, and I love conditional formatting because right now my data is just in kind of black and white form. I've got a bunch of numbers, but maybe I want to highlight in this whole range of numbers. I want to look at, for each one of these, what my highs and my lows are, and I've got some benchmarks in my mind of what a good day's worth of sales are, or what a bad day's worth of sales are. Just looking at these numbers, anytime I sell over $500 in one day, that's great. I want to see what I did that day and hopefully do it again. So with conditional formatting, I can highlight the cells that are greater than 500, and I can do something with them. I can make them appear in a different way. I can write a border around them. I can fill it with a certain type of text, or if I don't like any of those, I can do a custom format, and I can actually say, you know what, I want to do these, I want to highlight these in purple, and I maybe want to go to the fill, and I want to fill them in yellow, good Olivet colors, and then those will be highlighted in a certain way. I included my totals here, which I probably shouldn't have. And I could always back those out. But as you can see, anything that's over 500 gets highlighted, which I really like. Let me back out of that, and let me revise my range, and let's do another conditional format. Let's say I'm looking for sales that are less than a certain amount. So anytime I sell less than, let's say, $175 in a day, I know that's a bad day for me. So I'm going to put 175, and I'm going to try to figure out who was working that day, what was happening, what are we doing differently, and I'll just leave this with the red fill and the dark red text. And now as you can see, the conditional format, those days are highlighted. Mondays looks like that's a low day for me no matter what, and then on these two Thursdays I had very low sales as well. These are the kind of things that managers would like to look at. They can see everything comes alive with color. It's better than just having a big table of numbers in black and white. And this is what you can do using conditional formatting. The last thing I want to show you is goal seek, and I've got an example here, and I'll try to explain this and set this up quickly and then show you how to do it. With goal seek, what I have here is I've got a little payroll example. I figured out what my gross pay is, and then I've got to deduct taxes, I've got a miscellaneous kind of deduction, and then I've got insurance, and that gives me my net pay. And in each one of these cells, I basically have formulas. So I've got 25% of the gross pay is equal to taxes. I've got a miscellaneous deduction of 10%. Insurance is just a flat amount every month, let's say, of $10. And then I calculate all of that. As you can see, I've got in my formula here, I take C4 and I just subtract each one of these deductions to come up with my bottom net pay number. If I wanted to do something where I could find out what do I need to do to get a check for $100, how much do I have to make in a given month to bring home $100, I could start playing with these numbers to try to figure out what it was, or I could easily go up here to the data ribbon, and when I get here I can do some what if analysis. And through what if, there's something called the goal seek. And with goal seek, I can basically define, hey, I want this net pay to be $100. So I need to figure out how I can make that happen. So this cell C8, if I want it to be 100, what kind of gross pay do I have to start with, and then deduct 25%, another 10%, and then deduct that insurance amount? And instead of just trying to get out a calculator and figure all this out on my own, Excel will do it in one click. I've just defined the cell I'm looking for, which is this one. So this is my goal. I'm going to try to see what I need to do to take home $100. I also have to, put that amount in, which I've done here, and then I'm going to change the gross pay amount and figure that out. When I click OK, it's almost like magic here. GoalSeek found a solution to my problem, and it's figured out that if I want to bring home $100 net pay, I've got to make at least $169.23 in my gross pay, whatever that equates to an hourly amount. And then it took 25%, 10%, and then another $10 flat amount to get to that $100. That's what GoalSeek does. It helps you to figure out, if I want this number at the bottom line, what do I have to do, or where do I have to start with all these other calculations. That's a little demonstration of GoalSeek and how that works. So hopefully that helps you with that part of the assignment. And if you need any help, don't forget, Fridays at 9 o'clock, Help Lab, and I'll be here to help you as long as you need it. Thanks. Have a good week. Bye-bye.